Hi, we're going to talk about quoting a property and time management today. Those two things go hand in hand because you don't want to waste your time driving all over town, giving out quotes, and just wasting your time. So, quoting and time management is what we're going to talk about today. Time management, that is so important. And we're going to get into quotes later, but time management first. What does your week look like? And you got your stuff written down in a binder like this, kind of outlining what the week looks like. So, let's get into it. Monday. What does Monday look like? Every Monday morning, we sharpen our lawnmower blades. Sharpen them every Monday, even if they don't need it, we're going to do it anyways. Every Monday morning, we're going to sharpen our lawnmower blades. We're going to perform a light maintenance on the machines, checking the oil, filling up things with gas, getting ready for the week, making sure the weed eaters have string, making sure our edger blade is good and long. We're going to just do a light maintenance, lawnmower blades, check the oil, that sort of thing. Next, we're going to stop by the gas station. Every Monday morning, we go to the gas station. Even if the truck still has half a tank, we're going to fill it up. We're going to fill up all the equipment. We're going to fill up our gas tanks, our gas cans, so everything is ready to go. We've got light maintenance, gas, we're ready to go. So by this time, it's about 9, 10 o'clock, and we're rocking and rolling. Then we go and mow the rest of the Monday's list. Tuesday. What does Tuesday look like? Well, maybe Tuesday is a development area in a certain neighborhood that you want to get into. Maybe you only got 1 or 2 clients in that neighborhood and you're thinking, man, I really want to grow that neighborhood. So Tuesday, you're going to spend canvassing and marketing that area with your flyers, your business cards, knocking on doors. So say like the few people that you do mow, you're going to stop and you're going to knock on every single door up and down the street of that one customer that you do have, dropping off a flyer, introducing yourself, say, hey, I do Mr. Jones this today next door, and I'd like to do your lawn too, and all the way up and down the street. And you're going to spend like half hour, 45 minutes every stop and marketing in that neighborhood. Wednesday. What does Wednesday look like for you? Well, for me, it's kind of my personal day where I mow a handful of lawns and then I take off a little bit early in the afternoon and I go pick up the kids from school. Maybe I'll do some grocery shopping, get a haircut. I've scheduled Wednesday to be kind of a light personal day where I can do my own thing. You got the weekends, but you're not running errands all weekend. You want to relax and have a little R&R on the weekend. So Wednesday is kind of my day. I like to schedule it lighter-ish so that I have time to spend with the kids, pick them up from school, whatever. So that's kind of my personal day. That's what my week looks like. Thursday. What does Thursday look like? Thursday is our preemptive catch-up day before the end of the week, before our big day on Friday. We're going to play catch-up a little bit on Thursdays. We're going to maybe mow the lawns that we couldn't earlier in the week, maybe because it was raining or something happened. Maybe I had a breakdown and I had to go back. Maybe I broke a sprinkler head and I got to go back on Thursday and kind of fix those sort of things. So Thursday is kind of our designated fix it up, kind of preemptive strike on a Friday. Because I don't want to be working late on a Friday. We all want to get off on a Friday. So I'm going to preemptively catch up kind of throughout the week on a Thursday so it doesn't bleed into Friday and then doesn't bleed into Saturday. So Thursday is kind of our catch-up day. What am I doing on a Thursday? If I got everything done, I'm going to go wash the truck. Even if it doesn't even really need to be washed, I'm going to wash it anyway. What else am I going to do? I'm going to maybe hand out some flyers, maybe perform a little bit of light maintenance on the trucks. Maybe I have to bring the truck in for a big job into a big mechanic or whatever. I'm going to have Thursday afternoons kind of be my time for the business to play catch up. If I'm really light, maybe I can spend it doing some billing. Maybe I can go inside and use the computer and create a new little flyer, or maybe I can make some phone calls, whatever. Thursday is kind of a light mowing day, catch-up day. Fridays are a big day. Traditionally in the lawn mowing industry, everyone wants their lawn mowed on Friday. So you think, oh, well, Chris, why don't you just like stack up your day to be like on a Thursday, Friday or something like that. That way it looks good for the weekend. Well, we have purposely made our Thursday as our preemptive catch-up day, leading us into a smooth Friday. I've already put gas in the truck. I've already sharpened the lawnmower blades. I've already performed light maintenance to the machines. Maybe I washed them or whatever. I washed the truck. I've already done these preemptive things on Thursday to set me up for an easy Friday. I'm going to be mowing. It's going to be a breeze. I go out to lunch, go to Subway or McDonald's or whatever, kind of treat myself and just kind of cruise on into the weekend. And that's what Friday is meant to be for. is a big day for mowing, but you don't have any distractions because you've already done everything throughout the week, setting yourself up for a great Friday. And in turn, a good weekend. Wait a minute, you haven't even talked about the 50-hour work week where you're gonna have to stay up late doing billing. And you're right, I haven't. So let's think about this for real. What does your ordinary evening look like? Sitting on the couch with the wife and the kids, watching YouTube videos, or maybe watching Netflix or whatever. All right, so it's important to spend family time, hanging out, having dinner, maybe going to a little league game or whatever. So you got that evening time that's carved out just for the family. And that's a pretty normal thing. So after the kids go to sleep, after your wife's asleep, what do you like to do? You like to get up and play video games, have a beer, and stay up in half the night playing video games? And no. When you're first getting started, you can't allow yourself that luxury. Instead of doing that sort of thing and wasting your time watching YouTube videos on TV or whatever and playing video games, you're going to be working. You're going to be kind of sharpening that mental blade in your mind of what you're going to do. You're going to maybe sharpen up your Facebook page. Maybe you're going to work on your next promotion. You're going to make up a new little flyer. Maybe you're going to do some office work and reply to emails. You're going to kind of set your schedule again, like for quoting, because we haven't talked about quoting. What are you going to do? So that's what your evenings are going to look like. As much as I want to sit around and play video games half the night, and drinking beer, yeah, I do that, but I don't do it all the time. I gotta stay up late doing my billing, especially during the busy season. It's pretty common for a business owner just getting started in our industry to stay up until 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning working on business stuff. You got this great idea, some new promotion, and you can't sleep. Your mind's racing. You want to put this into action, and this is the time on the evenings that you're going to want to do this. And I want to separate it from the weekends because really, let's be honest, working on your feet for 40, 50 hours a week, it's tough. You're killing yourself. And so you're going to need a couple of days of R&R over the weekend to kind of recover. Quoting is kind of tricky when you're first getting started because you just don't know how much things cost out there and you don't know how much you can charge. Well, maybe a quick way of finding out is calling up all the competition in town and having them quote you for your own lawn over the phone. That might give you an estimate of what you should expect, but also you're going to want to carve out some time throughout the week to actually drive by these. But no, we're not going to do that right away, are we? No, because we already talked about this. A big waste of time. You're not going to drop everything and you're going to drive over to the person's house to give them a free quote. No. You're going to qualify them over the phone. We talked about qualifying people and how important that is to save you time and money. So you qualify the guy, you think, this might be a good client. They're within the neighborhood that I'm after. It sounds like they might have a nice yard. And the first question out of the guy's mouth wasn't, well, how much do you charge? So you qualified him. He's going to be a pretty good person. You're going to want to talk to him further. So how does this conversation go? You say, well, Mr. Jones, I'm in that neighborhood on Wednesdays. And so Wednesdays, I'll stop by and I'd like to give you a quote. If you're home, I'd like to meet you. And you kind of set the expectation for a certain day of the week, but you've already qualified him. He's going to be a good customer. You like the neighborhood, and the next thing is to go out there and do it. But you think, well, you don't want to lose out on the business because you have to wait 2-3 days to get over there and give him a quote. Well, what you can do right now over the phone is you can give them kind of a range. You can say, well, Mr. Jones, pricing in that neighborhood typically is $50. But, if it's a smaller yard, I might charge $40. If it's a bigger corner lot, I'm going to charge more. And hopefully you'd have learned a little bit about that because maybe when you're right there on the phone, you can pull up Google Maps and you can look at his neighborhood and you can kind of give him a rough estimate. If he's on a corner lot or whatever, you say, it's going to be about $50. And then you think, well, okay, you schedule that appointment. You're like, well, Mr. Jones, I'm in your neighborhood on Wednesday. I'd like to come by and take a look. And if I call you and if you like the pricing, the hard pricing, I'd like to just go ahead and start mowing on Wednesday. Get them to commit, or at least a soft commit to that Wednesday when you show up. Because you don't want to just go waste your time, just give them a free quote and drive off. No, you want to show up ready to work. And you want to kind of schedule that into your day. So you got, oh, you're on Wednesday, okay, I got this quote, I'm going to drive by. It's not really out of the way, so I'm not wasting any time. You cruise by, you call him up, you give him a price, and he says, yeah, move forward. Or maybe worst case, he says, yeah, well, let's do it next week because it doesn't need to be mowed this week, whatever. So you're doing that. You're quickly qualifying them over the phone. You're maybe pulling up your Google Maps, and I'll do this on the computer next. It's like we'll pull it up on a Google Map. We'll say, okay, well, this is the price, and you're already in the back of your mind. You can see it, you know the pricing, and then you're going to go ahead and drive out there the next day or whenever the next time you're in that neighborhood, and you're going to get a soft commit from him over the phone before you even go. That's really important. You want to end your conversation by saying, hey, Mr. Jones, I think I can do it for about $50. Does that sound fair? Yeah, it does? Okay, well, I'm going to come by then and take a look and give you a firm pricing. If I come by on Wednesday and that firm pricing sounds good, can I mow your lawn that day? Get him to give you something, at least a little verbal confirmation that he's ready to commit. And if they're like, nah, I'm just shopping around and like, I don't care really. And then you don't even waste your time driving over there because we're splitting hairs between $5 and $10 or whatever. Forget it. Don't do it. If the first question out of their mouth is how much do you charge, they're not going to be a good client. You're not going to waste your time driving over there, even if it is like in the neighborhood. Don't even bother. If a person is saying, I just want checking it out for pricing, don't bother. Because the clients you're going after are people that know that they need their lawn mowed and they want a guy to do it. And they got the money. Really, ideally, the conversation would go something like this. You answer the phone and you're like, hi, okay, you want a quote? Great. You pull up Google Maps, you glance at it and you're like, okay, I know I can do it for between, say, $40 and $60-ish. Mr. Jones, I'd like to go ahead and just come by your house and mow it that day. Is that going to work? He says, yes, please come by and mow it. And then you get there and you got a blank check practically. I mean, you're going to be fair with the guy. You're not going to ream him because you never really settled on a price. But really, the next question out of the guy's mouth should be, when can you start? That's the perfect kind of client you want. When can you start? Oh man, that is awesome. Those are the kind of clients you're going after. Okay, quick side note about some of the vernacular you could be using to make your business sound better and more credible. One big thing I like to say is, I'm going to be fair with you. That's kind of a nice little sound bite. I'm going to be fair with you. Hey, Mr. Jones, I don't know how much it's going to cost exactly. It's going to be between $40 and whatever, $60. But you know what? I'm going to be fair with you. Another thing is sometimes people will call up and say, hey, can you mow my lawn every other week? The back of your mind, that's a big fat no, because one, it's not the client you want. And they're wanting you to mow twice as much grass in half the amount of time over the course of the month. The question should be no. But what you can say to kind of ease that, you can say, well, no, Mr. Jones, we mow our lawns weekly, and but you know what? I'm going to be fair with you. If I show up and it's in the dog days of summer and it just hasn't really grown, I'll be fair with you and I'll skip it. So you should always set that expectation that you're going to be mowing weekly, but you're going to be fair with them with the pricing and with the frequency of mowing, because it's not really fair when you show up and you mow the lawn even though it doesn't need to be mowed and it's already dead and it's dry and it's not where you want to be. So the words you want to avoid are things like cheap. Oh, I'm the cheapest guy in town. You do not want to be known as the cheapest guy in town, because that gives a persona and a reputation of just being cheap. I mean, even when I say it, it's cheap. I mean, even when you don't want that cheap. So avoid the vernacular of being the cheapest guy in town or you're cheap. Another one is discount. You don't want to be discounted. When you think about going to your discounted store, what kind of store is that usually? It's usually kind of a crummy store. We got a place here in town, a discount store, and every time you go in there and it's just like stuff is all over the place and it's just discounted. So you're going to want to avoid the vernacular of discounted or cheap or whatever. You kind of get what I'm saying. A better way to go about it is being being fair with a client. So same with when you give referrals, or when you talk about referring each other over the phone with your other business networking. You're not going to give them pricing again right over the phone. And if you do, you're giving them a range, and then you're throwing in the word, "I'm going to be fair with you." It's so important, to be honest and fair with people. Gosh, even saying it just right now, it makes me sound more credible, right? Hey, Mr. Jones, I'm going to be honest and fair with you. And you say it, and that's the truth, and that's how you're going to run your business.
Okay, let's say Mr. Jones calls you from this neighborhood and you're familiar with this neighborhood because you have a few clients in the neighborhood already. Maybe you got somebody over here, you got somebody over here, and you got somebody over here. This would be a great place to start. So Mr. Jones calls you, say, from right here. You're going to pull him up quickly on Google Earth or on your phone, and you're going to just take a quick view of his house. You're going to think, okay, this looks like a pretty easy yard. Here looks like there's no sidewalks. So you're thinking in the back of your mind that's less hard edging you're going to have to do. There's plenty of parking out front. You're looking at the front and the backyard. Looks fairly easy, and then you want to confirm this with him before even giving him any soft pricing that you're looking at the right house. So you say, okay, Mr. Jones, I'm looking at, say, this red house. And you're like, okay, cool, red house. And then you confirmed that you have the right house you're looking at. Again, maybe back out, say, okay, well, it looks like maybe in your backyard you have a small garage, and it says, yep, that's my house. And you're like, okay, cool. This house looks fairly easy from experience, because you're doing this one over here and you're doing this one over here. You can give this guy a pretty solid price of, say, about $40, I would say $40 for this guy. And again, you're giving him a soft price. You're saying about because maybe he's got some other stuff going on. Maybe he's got a bunch of dog poop in the backyard. Maybe he's got a bunch of kids toys. So you're going to upcharge him for that. So maybe 40, $45. You can give him a pretty tight quote. But let's say you do say this guy, Mr. Jones, happens to live here, and it's on a corner lot. You can see, but you can't make out because there's all these trees. Even when you bring your little guy down onto the road, you're just not really sure what's going on here. He's got some trees, he's got some shrubs. You're not really sure what's going on. Is he irrigating? Because you're looking out in this corner. I mean, you might want to confirm, what's going on. You're just not really sure. So this one is just a larger uh, quote. You're going to say, like, this guy in the corner, you're just really not sure. I mean, it could be anywhere from $40 to $60. And you're just going to be honest. You're going to tell him that over the phone. Let's do a couple more of these for fun. Let's say a customer calls you, say, oh, I don't know, say from this house right here. You think, all right, cool. Now this one looks super easy. Out of all the ones we've looked at, this one looks like the easiest. You got front yard, backyard, no obstacles, looks super easy, plenty of parking out front. You're not on a busy street. You zoom in, you confirm with the guy. You're like, all right, yep, that's my house. You got some shrubs. Man, this is like the easiest one to quote. You're thinking to yourself, but wait a minute, there might be some sort of hidden obstacles or something. Let's look at this guy's, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. I don't know, there's like no room on either side of the house. Now this is kind of tricky. Can you get your mower, or maybe your big mower, down the side of the house here to speed up the backyard? Or are you going to have to push mow the backyard? Man, that's kind of tricky. So, before giving even like this super easy house, you're thinking, oh, this is a solid like $45 house, super easy. I might hesitate because there's little unforeseen things here that you don't know how you're going to get through into the backyard. What if it's a super narrow gate and you're going to have to push the whole backyard? So that's something to think about too. Okay, let's do this one as another example. This is a house that's on the corner, and this is actually kind of a big yard, and there's virtually no backyard, but you are going to, looks like you can get around to the side of the house here into the backyard to do this little backyard, and there's a tree. I mean, who knows what else is going on back here. But for this house, you might want to give a range of, say, well, let's take a little closer look. Let's pop this guy down here. Let's get zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you got some sidewalk out here you're going to have to deal with. You got a tree out front you're going to have to duck under. You got a fire hydrant you're going to have to weed eat around, and it's on a corner lot. So you might want to quote this guy closer to $55 or $60 just because of the size of it, and it's so big. And you're going to have to use a little tiny mower to get into the backyard there. So that's another quick example.
Time management, organizing your week, giving out quotes, and really being fair with people is what we talked about today. And I want you guys to take these things into your business and incorporate them. Really, I mean, it's important, you guys. And if you got anything out of these videos, again, hit the old subscribe button, hit the like, leave a comment, and have a great week. Thanks.